A photo of a couple on the beach in 1954. This photo actually shows a husband and wife clutching each other after finding out their 19-month-old son, who had been playing in their yard, had wandered off to the beach and vanished into the water. This heart-wrenching photograph went on to appear on the front page of the Los Angeles Times and later won a Pulitzer Award. A collectible basketball card from the year 1990. If you look closely, this card actually shows the Menendez brothers sitting front court in the background. The seats were paid for with their parents' money after the pair killed them in 1989. A photograph of a Washington, D.C. street taken in 1865. This image shows the infamous Ford's Theater, where President Abraham Lincoln was assassinated. What makes this photo eerie is that it was taken just one day after John Wilkes Booth shot Lincoln in the back of the head during a performance. A photo of a large family on a Swedish vacation in 1971. This photo actually shows a 14-year-old boy named Osama, who we all now know went on to be associated with various terror groups and was responsible for the 9/11 terror attack in 2001. A man throwing water into a pool? This horrible photograph from the 1960s shows the exact moment Jimmy Brock, who was the motel manager, throwing acid into the pool where black and white people were swimming together. 7 days prior to this incident, Martin Luther King was arrested at this exact motel for trespassing after being told to leave the white-only restaurant. As a form of protest, the white people staying at the motel allowed black people to come swim with them, and the reaction of the hotel manager was captured in this photo. A photo of an American warship during World War II. The eerie image reveals what looks like a shadow burned into the ship's side. It is, in fact, the scorched imprint left behind after a Japanese kamikaze pilot crashed into the vessel, a devastating tactic where pilots would sacrifice themselves to destroy American ships. A seemingly ordinary class photo from 1998. Look closer, and you'll spot none other than Kim Jong-un, the current leader of North Korea. He was studying at an elite private school in Switzerland. A photograph of a family walking together in the 1940s. At first glance, it seems like an ordinary moment, but this haunting image shows a Jewish family unknowingly walking to their deaths in the gas chambers at Auschwitz. An image of people on a rowing boat from the early 1910s. In reality, this photo shows survivors of the Titanic disaster. These passengers were photographed just before being rescued by the Carpathia, a ship that saved a total of 705 lives that night. A photograph of World War II soldiers watching a film. This haunting image actually shows German soldiers being forced to watch footage of the horrors that took place in concentration camps, atrocities their country was responsible for. A public gathering in Washington, D.C. in 1861. At first, it looks like an ordinary crowd, but this photo is from Abraham Lincoln's presidential inauguration. If you look closely, you can spot Lincoln himself. Hidden somewhere in this crowd, however, is John Wilkes Booth, the man who would assassinate the president nearly 4 years later. Wedding rings of Holocaust victims, found at a concentration camp after U.S. troops liberated Germany in May 1945. These rings were among the personal items taken from victims before their deaths. A man working out in a gym during the early 20th century. Surprisingly, this isn't just any gym. It was located aboard the Titanic. The photo was taken on April 11, 1912, just days before the tragic sinking of the famous ship. A bustling parade in the streets of New York City in 1865. In reality, this somber event is Abraham Lincoln's funeral procession. Watching from a nearby window is a 6-year-old Theodore Roosevelt, the future president of the United States. He can be seen alongside his little brother. A seemingly ordinary high school photo from 1999. This image was taken at Columbine High School and eerily captures Eric Harris and Dylan Klebold, who would later carry out a mass shooting at the school, tragically killing 12 students and 1 teacher. A man job hunting during the 1930s. This powerful image captures a man's desperate search for work to provide for his family during the Great Depression. A child meeting her father for the first time in 1956. Her father, a World War II soldier, had been held in a Siberian concentration camp after being captured by the Soviets. An unsettling image captures the last lifeboat leaving the sinking Titanic. This photo was taken by the first rescue boat to arrive at the disaster site, just hours after the Titanic tragically sank in 1912. This striking photo shows a bride-to-be walking out of her recently bombed home on her wedding day. The image was taken in London during the bombings of World War II. capturing a haunting mix of resilience and devastation. The Statue of Liberty under construction in Paris, 1884. This iconic image shows the famous monument being assembled before it was shipped to the United States as a gift from France. The man behind the infamous lunch atop a skyscraper photo, taken in 1932. While the image of workers sitting on a steel beam high above New York is world famous, this rare photo reveals the man who captured it. Two men carrying a comically large 12-foot shotgun in the early 1900s. The absurd size of the weapon is both fascinating and bizarre. The graves of a Catholic woman and her Protestant husband in Holland, 1888. Due to religious segregation in cemeteries, the couple was buried on opposite sides of a wall. Despite this, their graves remain connected by joined hands. A young girl drawing her home in 1948. Growing up in a concentration camp, this heartbreaking image reflects the innocence of childhood amidst unimaginable trauma. The last known photo of the Titanic, taken on April 10, 1912. Just 4 days later, the ship sank, and its wreckage remained hidden for 73 years before being discovered in 1985. An illegal photo taken inside the U.S. Supreme Court during a session. This rare image is one of only 2 photos ever captured inside the courtroom, the other being taken 5 years later in 1933. A haunting image of the D-Day landings in 1944. The photo captures the tense moments when many of these soldiers faced death before even reaching the shore. Jewish prisoners, moments after being rescued from a death train in 1945. This powerful image captures the relief and shock as they are freed from the brink of death. The shadow of a man burned into the steppes of Hiroshima, 1945. This eerie imprint was left by the atomic blast, a chilling reminder of the destruction caused by the bomb. John D. Rockefeller gifting a 5-cent coin to a child in 1929, which would be the equivalent of 90 cents today. This gesture highlights the immense wealth of the Rockefeller family, even in the midst of the Great Depression. A mother and her 8 sons, all of whom served in the Army and returned home in 1945. This photo is a powerful reminder of the sacrifices made during wartime. A British veteran of the Battle of Waterloo photographed in 1850, proudly wearing his campaign medal alongside his wife. This rare photo captures a moment from one of history's most famous battles. American World War II soldiers watching Mount Etna erupt in Sicily, 1944. Amid the chaos of war, nature's raw power provided a stunning and surreal backdrop. The Titanic's anchor chains being made in 1909. This image offers a glimpse into the enormous scale of the ship's construction before it made its fateful voyage. The famous canals of Venice being drained and cleaned in 1956. This photo shows a rare sight of the iconic waterways without water, revealing the city's hidden infrastructure. A photo of a Western man visiting a remote tribe in 1961. This man is none other than Michael Rockefeller, a member of the wealthy Rockefeller family. He mysteriously disappeared shortly after this image was taken. To add to the chilling mystery, the Asmat tribe he was visiting was known for cannibalistic practices. Years later, a documentary crew captured a similar image, raising the question, could this still be Michael Rockefeller? A photograph of soldiers during the Boer War in South Africa. The man standing at the center of the image may surprise you. It's Mahatma Gandhi. Before becoming a symbol of peace, Gandhi served alongside the British during this conflict. An unsettling image of a woman carrying her child in 1890. This photo was actually taken at a human zoo in Paris, France. These zoos were used at the time to promote the false idea of racial superiority, displaying people from colonized regions as exhibits. A promotional picture for the Canadian film The Mask in 1961. 4 women goof off wearing extremely large pants in the US in 1933. Thank you for watching. Like and subscribe for more.